every day for up until I think the 26th now. So
how are they all going? The interviews have been going good.
Really well, mate. Yeah, really well. I've never really done anything like this before, so it's been a bit of a learning curve, and like one or two episodes have been a struggle. Like the LSD episode, the audio didn't come out particularly great, and I'm struggling to edit the copacetic episode just because there's a bit of echoing on his end. But apart from that, I mean, this will be the 20th episode I've recorded now, I think, and
wow,
everything else has gone smoothly. So
that's crazy. You're putting in so much work at the moment.
I'm doing my best, man. It's just keeping busy, isn't it? You know, I'm not working for the foreseeable future until all this is over, and then my girlfriend works from home from like 8 till 8, so it just keeps me busy during the day and doing something productive as of just sitting on the PlayStation, I suppose.
How have you adapted to
PlayStation recently just because of all this nonsense?
Yeah, I don't blame you, man. It's mad at the moment, and I'm guessing you guys are on like full lockdown as well then.
Yeah, man. 100%. I mean, we both work in school, so I'm a teacher, so like and you know, we both work in education. I work in a secondary school, but at the minute, obviously everything's closed. Obviously I sit and work from home here and there, but like it's pretty chill. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's nothing too hectic.
No, I can imagine.
Still, you know, getting looked after and compensated for the time being, which is like the main thing, I suppose, isn't it? Because I don't know how the hell people can do this without, unless you have prior savings as well. You know what I mean? But it's just mad for certain people.
Definitely, man. Yeah, I'm like a living support worker in a children's home, and even all the children have been sent to like grandparents' houses or whatever just during this lockdown period to keep everyone safe, and it's been a bit fucking hectic, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, it gave me the chance to start this up, so in that case I'm thankful. I've spoken to, you know, some really cool people and stuff, but
yeah, absolutely,
yeah, man.
And the UK seems sort of need this as well, I believe. You know, with everything going quiet, it's sort of easy to forget, you know, URL is doing their quarantine and they're keeping up, but we've not got much over here. So these podcasts, we appreciate everything that, you know, you're contributing to the scene. Every little helps, to be honest.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. And it's just a bit of fun content, really. People can kind of watch if they get bored or whatever. And I've actually just started to put together a little online tournament. So within a week or so, hopefully, I've got about 18 people on board at the moment. So I'm hoping to get 32 people in total within the next week and do like just a tournament of 2-minute rounds. Yeah. And then I'm going to try and make the matchups like as obscure as possible, as in matchups that would never normally be able to happen.
Yeah.
So for example, like, I don't know if you guys are aware of Dev the Demon.
No.
He's I think he's going through the PG stages at the moment, but he's just had a battle drop on iBattle with D.I. the Hennyman.
I know who that is. Yeah, I know. I'm like, we're really familiar with him.
Yeah. So Dev's sick. I think he's from like San Francisco kind of area, but we're gonna do him versus Crash, if you're aware of Crash from Cardiff.
No.
Crash he's been on Gift of the Gab quite a lot, like Battle Bracy. I think he was booked for this no loose chat card against Automatic Ray from Atlanta.
Yeah.
So he's that'll be good, man. And then just see who else gets involved. Really, most of it's like the Irish guys and the iBattle guys at the moment. So
that's good though.
Trying to, it'd be good fun, definitely. But
Nathan, you want to spit some bars in this tournament?
Huh?
Asking my brother if he wants to spit some bars in the tournament.
Yeah.
I'll fuck with it.
Jump in, man. Let's get it going.
Yeah. So, in terms of battle rap, what got you into it? How did you how did you first come across it and stumble across it?
Oh, for me, the first battle I ever saw was O'Shea versus Lego. So,
shit, yeah, that was years back. I
remember Lego actually. I forgot that name, but I definitely remember. I remember Lego.
I remember Lego.
Yeah, Lego was sick, man. But yeah, I was fucking hell, man. That was like 11 years ago now.
Yeah.
So I would have been, I think, year 9 at school or something. But it was, that I saw that, like, my old man's in the army, so we moved around quite a lot, and like we just moved to a new place, so I didn't really know anyone, so I was spending like a lot of time on YouTube and going down rabbit holes and whatever. But I remember watching like a Plan B track. I think it might have been like Charmaine, like one of the proper old school ones, but O'Shea versus Lego was one of the recommended videos, and just ended up clicking on that. The quality of the video was terrible. But I think, like a lot of people do, I watched it and remembered thinking that it was all freestyle, because O'Shea did, like, I think Lego said something about slapping him with some gloves that he found on the way to the venue, and O'Shea flipped it at the start of his round, and it was like, I thought the whole thing was kind of freestyle at that point. But I've just been obsessed with it since that moment on, to be fair.
I mean, do you prefer the UK battle, US, or do you just watch whatever comes your way, really?
I watch everything.
Same here.
The only time I'd say I'm particularly picky is with URL. There's certain URL battlers that I'm not really a fan of, and I don't.
Can you name any?
Tay-Rock.
Yeah. Okay.
I think he's the most overhyped ever. I think the majority of his actual material is poor. I think it's just his performance that carries him. But like, yeah, I'm not. I like Tay-Rock as part of gun titles. I thought they were amazing, but yeah, it's one of those with Tay-Rock where I feel similar with Charlie Clips. Like, I was never a big fan of Clips' material, but then seeing Clips live changed my opinion of Clips. Like, he's electric in the room.
Where did you see Clips live? What event was that?
So I saw Clips at Battle of the Brave.
We was there. That one as well.
Yeah. Weird event, man. Really
that was with the investors.
I remember that one. Is that the first Huddle on Pat Stay one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was so pissed with that because I was living in Spain at the time, so I flew back from Spain specifically just for that event. And then when that match was cancelled, I was like, fuck, man. Obviously, I understand the logistics and the business behind it. Like, certain things can't be helped, but as one of like the fans that like flew like specifically for that battle, it was quite frustrating. But the event overall, I remember, it was actually sick. It was really different, that crowd as well, to a lot of Don't Flop events that we've been to, or just any other events in general. Like, I'd say that was one of the first crowds where it just seemed a bit more like, I don't know, it seemed a bit more like URL-y, because it was obviously all URL battles, isn't it? So it's more like, I think the UK URL scene more came to that event, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was a very different crowd as well. Like a lot of people that I'd never seen at battle rap events before, which doesn't normally happen. But yeah, it was. I enjoyed most of the event. It was just a bit weird on the day. Like, it was a bit of a confusing event. But I saw Clips against O'Shea and Clips against Harry Baker live as well. So
that was funny as hell. Clips and Harry Baker. That's one of the funniest battles I've actually seen.
Yeah, that was crazy.
One of the funniest battles I've actually seen. Bars.
Yeah.
Bars.
Yeah, I love that.
But that was funny as hell. I wish Clips came a bit more prepared for that one though, because I feel like he didn't anticipate the sort of battle that Harry Baker was.
Yeah. He's great with words, Harry Baker. I think a lot of people look at him, so a lot of people look at battle rappers and assume you have to have a certain look and you can't rap a certain way. But Harry Baker, he just throws you complete off. He's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. And I think even Clips kind of acknowledged that on stage, didn't he? Was like, I was not expecting this guy to be this funny kind of thing. But yeah. How about you guys? Like, how did you get into battle rap then?
I think like both of us, like I think we used to love watching
Jump Off.
What was it? Jump Off. Yeah, like back in the day when it was like, I don't. A lot of people give this guy slack, but I remember when Cyanide was, in my opinion, one of the guys I was like used to love watching, and like
and
people
Disaster,
like Dark Side, Mike Assassin holding it down, and then like
Home
Homie as well, Piff James, all these lot. But we always had this like interest in like, and I think it's called like double deuce. It's like people just going back and forth, like kind of rinsing each other. So like, I feel like because I've always kind of found that sort of funny, and then watching battling, it just kind of, like you said, you just get stuck in this rabbit hole of it. And then as soon as the 2-on-2 tournaments happened, any sort of battle I could watch. Even, I don't know if you remember a show called MTV Made.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
There was one where I think it's Quest McCody's on there teaching this guy the blizzard is coming to rap.
Yeah.
I think I hadn't seen. There wasn't a lot of battles available at that time, so anytime the episode was on, I was like, this is the closest I'm gonna get to a battle. And then obviously 8 Mile coming out, and then just more and more. But regardless of where in the world it is, we're just fans of battling in general. Like, yeah, but I feel like we've just been hooked on it ever since the Jump Off days, really.
Yeah, 15 years now, isn't it? I would say 15 years.
Yeah. 2007, 2008, like them times there. Maybe 2006. Actually.
No, 2006, definitely. Yeah. I remember, like, do you remember watching Mike Assassin? I'm not sure if you remember him. I'm not sure if you ever watched him back in the day.
So for me, it came later. So like, I got into battling around the Don't Flop around Don't Flop started, I guess, and then going back through like Grind Time and Jump Off and the WRCs kind of came later to me. But yeah, Mike Assassin, like, I'd love to get him on the show, because there's like, I've heard stories where he's kind of flown out to like the west coast of America. He's arrived, got to the venue straight off the plane, done 9 battles, and then flown home 12 hours later or whatever. It's just, the work rate back then was crazy.
Yeah,
he's an animal. He's an animal.
And then, that's how I felt anyway. I mean, regardless of how you feel, if he won or lost any battles, but I feel like he definitely held down the scene. And then even other names now that kind of don't get recognized as much. Like, I don't know if you ever heard of like Possess and Faced, G-Dash and George. Even I think one of my favorite battles that don't battle, doesn't really battle now, like Bamalam. I feel like definitely. I feel like he was the most difficult opponent for anyone to beat. It's kind of like with Shuffle T in a way. Like, I feel like a lot of people respect his pen, but they know he's really difficult to beat. So I feel like when you get rappers like that, they're really good at breaking you down. They've got really good angles, and I feel like obviously you have to have like a level of intelligence to just kind of like think of all these things, be that creative. And I just feel like those guys were just spot on, especially with their rhyming patterns and everything. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, agreed, man. Do you know what? I'd love to see G-Dash step back in the ring now.
Same. That's one person, especially now. But
who would you like to see him against, though? This is the thing. Me personally, I would love to see him versus D-Mac. G-Dash versus D-Mac.
I think that's...
he's on one at the moment, running, just gunning everyone. And I think G-Dash versus those two, that would, I think that would be, it would just, the intensity would be crazy. It would be.
Definitely. No, I agree, man. And I don't know, I'd quite like to see, because G-Dash can be fucking hilarious as well. I think even if it was G-Dash versus O'Shea or someone like that, that'd be...
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, no, I'd love to see... I can't see it ever happening, but I'd love to see G-Dash step back in, and Mike Assassin and everyone really from that era. It'd be great to see like an event. Say again.
Do you know?
I was literally going to follow up. I was saying, I feel like an event where all the older guys versus all the newer guys.
Definitely. Yeah. I agree.
But then again, it's just
sick.
We just don't have the investment. So unfortunately, this is the thing. Not enough people show the interest. You know, these battlers want to be paid, which they deserve to be paid. After all the years they put in to build up this this culture, and it's just unfortunate we struggle so much to find people to invest in over.
No, and I think the best. I think Premier Battles have been onto a bit of a winner in that sense, in spending their first year investing purely in UK talent and building up to these big events where they book internationals.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they had the setbacks of Apex with the URL battlers, which cost them a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but I think the way that they've designed the way they've put their plan together long term is beneficial for the scene as a whole. But
yeah, definitely.
I think
definitely
with the Don't Flop era, like, I love Don't Flop, don't get me wrong, and I always will.
Yeah.
And it's great to see them back, but I think they invested too much money into constantly bringing clips, DNA, Cortez, the guys over that were. They were coming over and probably doing 2 or 3 battles a weekend, but they were putting kind of 20% effort into each battle, and it didn't make much sense to me. Like, I really like Premier Battles approaching booking these iBattle guys like Red Flag and Real Sick. I think those two guys have put on some of the best performances from internationals that we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even Real Sick at the minute, he's in that URL tournament. I can't remember the name of it, but as soon as I saw him in it, I just, again, obviously he's got a tough match against Jaden Nightwing, but both of them have potential to win it. But Real Sick live, I've seen anytime there's a battle of his, we just watch it all the time, because even when we see him live, when he came down in the last Premier Battles event, that was just incredible against Maverick, and Maverick is one of the, like, in my opinion, one of the best battlers in the world. Not just because I always try to differentiate between. I don't like the whole thing where it's like you're the best in the UK, you're the best in the States. I try to look at it like just holistically, and it's just like when I think of the level of battling, I don't try to say you're the best in the UK, you're the best in the US, because then it sets different standards and all these other just little bits of criteria here and there that I just don't feel like is necessary. I just feel like if you're good, it doesn't matter where you're from, you're good. And I just feel like certain people can keep up with certain levels, and I feel like Maverick can hang with anyone, and Real Seek as well. And I just feel like it's sick that he came here and put on 100%, gave 100% in his performance against Maverick.
100%.
Can't play with him.
No, I was at that event as well, and like I thought performance-wise, I think Shotty definitely takes it, but in terms of just overall back and forth battle, like, Mav versus Real Sick was the best of the night for me.
It was incredible. It was really good. I feel
even I was just about to say that. Yeah.
And it's sportsmanship as well, because obviously, Raptor's an amazing rapper, but I think when he did whatever it was to Yunnan on the stage, I feel like even to myself, I was like, whoa, shit, that's like one of the worst things you can do to someone, almost disrespectful thing you can do to someone, do you know what I mean? And the fact that he just handled it, because I personally, like, whenever you go to events, I don't want to see all that bullshit. It's like I'm paying to hear bars, you know what I mean? I'm not going there to see loads of fights. And even through our Twitter page and stuff like that, we never try to like promote any bullshit.
Right. No violence, anything.
Anything. It's just trying to it doesn't matter what tier you are, if you're up and coming. Our whole thing is that we just want to push everyone as much as possible, and just make sure people get the recognition they deserve, especially the up and coming ones as well, or the ones that are getting slept on. But I think
there's one artist that was there, Milky. A lot of people saw his performance, and it's a shame that he's had to give up battle rapping, but he smashed it for me at that night as well, man. It's a shame, there's so many people I'd love to see him, go up against in the future, but he's another one that stood out at that event, man.
Yeah, it's a huge shame, man. And he looked so comfortable on that big stage for his first big stage battle as well. It was really fun to see that. And I don't know if you've seen much of the Broken Resolutions event that happened in Ireland.
Yeah, I heard about it. Yeah, in February. Yeah.
They've been getting released recently.
Yeah, February. Yeah.
Yeah. If you've not seen it, so Visual, who was Milky's opponent in the fight.
Yeah, I know that Visual. Visual's incredible.
If you watch his battle versus Carney from that event, he has, the final was a big learning curve for him, and the Carney battle is unbelievable.
Because even when, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't really seen much of Milky up until the Visual battle, and then just watching Visual's progress throughout the tournament up until the final. When I was on stage, I was like, I can't see anyone beating Visual. That's literally what I said. And then personally, I gave it to Milky that battle, 2-1, possibly a gentleman's 3-0, but it wasn't like a body or nothing. But I just feel like Milky was just incredible. I mean, the performance, the bars, everything. And we just felt like if he had the opportunity to obviously keep, battling and staying in the game, he would have been a top tier contender in a good couple of years if he just made the right moves. But obviously, he's making big moves outside of the scene, which means he can't battle. But like I said, incredible battler.
Definitely, yeah, and it's a real shame he can't battle much anymore. And going back to the Raptor situation, like I actually had a really brief conversation with Raptor afterwards, and like he mentioned that even before the altercation happened, he felt like the crowd weren't fucking with him, and he didn't know how to react. And I said to him, but you need to bear in mind, like, the crowd aren't going to want to react to you when before the battle, you've walked around the venue for an hour saying, fuck London crowds, Manchester crowds are better. And he didn't really know how to react. And I think he realised at that point that he'd kind of already built himself up as the villain in that battle.
Yeah. 100%.
Which I think going into it, considering like him and Yunnan had both had like amazing performances at the previous event at Apex.
Yeah.
They'd both gone from being a villain to being loved again, because battle rap is that subjective. So he kind of put himself in that position.
Yeah, 100%, man. But it's funny though, because even though Raptor could play the villain role like quite well, regardless if you like him personally or not, like you can't deny like anytime he's on the card, you're gonna watch his battle.
100%.
His second against Red Flag was undeniably one of our top 5 rounds of the year, across the whole spectrum of battle rap. I think even if you listen to his music and his bars, I think he's an incredible musician as well. I think one of the best things I've ever seen him do was the mental health rap when he did it in the mirror. Like I just like his vulnerability, because he puts himself out there. There's nothing that he hides. He stands up to everything that he's ever done. And I just feel like, when you have those qualities in battling, I don't feel like anything should be able to get to you if you're going to be so transparent anyway. But I respect his response after the event, because even he said he's like he just needs to learn to like just control his reaction,
his emotions to it. Yeah,
I respect that. If you can recognize and reflect on what it is that you've done, then it's just kind of like, that's why I look forward to his next battle. And even if it does get a bit tense, I just want to be like, this is like, because I love his lyrics. His lyrics are amazing. So I just like, that's what we want to hear. We don't need to see. I feel like a lot of people feel like they need to almost prove themselves. Like, I ain't gonna take no shit. But there's other ways to prove, at the end of the day, you're not like a pussy. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to. There's a time and a place for all of that.
Ready to fight someone and shit. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, there's a time and a place for all of that. And
definitely.
The stage ain't really the one. Like, because at the end of the day, no one in general is gonna take shit. But no one has to. You've got nothing to prove. Like, we respect you as a battler. Respect all battlers as battlers. You know what I mean? Like, no one has to be gangster. We don't give a shit about that, man. It's like we're all grown ups at the end of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just keep it rap. It's that simple.
Definitely. No, I agree, man. But for you guys then, what was the first event that you ever attended?
Do you know, we discussed this today, and we couldn't remember.
It might have been like
so many. Blood in the Water? Nah, before Blood in the Water, innit?
Yeah, before that. I mean, one of the first ones I remember, I used to go, because I went uni at Sussex, at Sussex Uni, so I lived in Brighton for like a few years. So like anytime there was Brighton events, I was always there, like at the pubs or whatever. And then
the houses, everything, yeah.
Yeah, and then I remember, I think one of the first events that I can remember clearly though, like the one I was most excited about was versus Ilmac.
Right.
If you're over. That was one of the first battles that I can remember, like one of the first events I can remember going to. And just I remember just seeing Ilmac and just watching that live with just, I think at the time as well, it was like such a big grudge match. If you follow the whole WRC and the build up, some battles, you know, it's more about the time as well. Like some of them, obviously, years and years later, people don't get it. It's like the whole build up, the feel for it. But that was one of the battles that I was most excited to see, and it was incredible live. So that's one of the first events that we remember going to, but I can't remember the first one I went to.
What was your first event that you? What was the one you went to? Your first one? You remember?
It's a bit of an embarrassing story, to be honest. But
yeah,
the first event I went to, I just finished my GCSE exams, so I was like 16.
Yeah.
And there was an event that they were doing on Brighton Beach.
Okay.
It was like, I think Boski and Big Sarters battled Seaslin and Gizmo and like
Rom committee.
Yeah,
they were big. They're like big in Brighton, man. Big names in Brighton, man. Like if you lived there at the time, like I remember living there at a time when, you know, I'm not saying they're not popping out. Like obviously we still, like I remember Prince Kong, he released an album like a few months ago, and listened to a lot of that as well. And again, the transparency on his bars, and then if you've seen his journey and then you listen to the lyrics and the bars, you can just see like the transformation like within the person, and I think that's sick as well.
Yeah,
big
man.
Names, like, big names in Brighton.
I saw even recently, like Ocean Wisdom put something on one of his social media accounts. I can't remember, but like he was doing a Q&A with fans and stuff, and someone asked him who his biggest influence in the world was, and I think he said I want to say Raekwon and Seaslin.
That's sick.
Yeah, it's huge, man. But yeah, it was. I don't remember a single battle. It was one of those where I was living about 2 hours from Brighton at the time, and I got the train there. I was 16 at the time, and my mum was like, right, you can have a couple of cans for the day, and that's all you're having, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So she bought me a few cans, and then didn't know that I had a fake ID, so I ended up buying more anyway. And
yeah.
I was so nervous going to the event because like I'd been watching these battles for about 2-3 years by this point, and like I was going on my own as a young kid. I didn't know if anyone would speak to me or whatever, so I got a bit too drunk on the train there, and then got there and was trying to show off because everyone was smoking weed, and like I was getting involved in that, and I ended up pulling the world's biggest whitey. And
that's not the time to whitey like at a battle event on the beach.
Yeah, definitely.
It was kind of halfway through the first battle as well, so it really didn't go very well. But if Prince Kong does ever listen to this, quite a cool story is Prince Kong actually had to call my stepdad and get him to come and pick me up. So good claim to fame right there. But so like the first proper event that I actually remember is not long after that point I moved to Sweden, and like I lived in a couple of other countries for a few years. So I didn't get to go to an event for a while, and then I actually flew back for 4th birthday, so the Shotty Arsenal event.
You was there.
That event, we were talking about that event. That's the one that stands out more than anything, I think, live, because one thing that doesn't translate on the camera, right, is when Cosdick battled Jefferson Price, right? Even just in general, I've never seen anything like that in my life. That third round, I've never seen anyone's life just, get exposed like that. And the atmosphere in the building, as Cosdick was going through that third round, you would just, I didn't know what to do. I was genuinely just like, holy shit, like. And you knew it was real as well. That's the thing. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you just knew with the feeling in the building, like, this is serious. This guy's you're taking it beyond battle. Well, it depends on your standards, innit, or what's battling, whatever, innit.
No, definitely.
He just
and it was It's really funny actually, that battle, because I remember the one thing I remember from that third round is the entire room was pretty much silent all the way through the round. Yeah. And the only person that you could hear was like, they had like a balcony area in the venue that had...
with Getz and everyone. Yeah. He's not with there, yeah.
And all you can hear is like every kind of 15 seconds Getz just bursting out laughing.
And just banging on the little balcony.
The balcony. It was like Diddy at Smack 2. That's what it was like.
Yeah. Yeah, it was amazing, man. But yeah, I literally flew back on the Friday, went to the event, and then flew home on the Sunday night. So it was a quick visit, as like, I think it was my birthday a couple of weeks beforehand. So like I'd booked it as a birthday present for myself, and it was probably still the best event that I've ever been to.
Yeah. What did you think of the Shotty and Arsenal battle when you was there? Did you enjoy that one as well?
It's another one. It falls into the clips bracket for me. Like, I'd never really thought Arsenal was as good as he was made out to be, and then saw that performance live, and it completely changed my opinion.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. For us, we was saying that's one of the, probably, like, in terms of live battles, best battles. That's probably one of the greatest battles we've ever seen live, because it just had everything. That whole battle was just, it's phenomenal. It's a classic.
I don't think anyone anticipated it. Like, when we were watching it, it's weird because when you're watching something, and then, it's one of the best battles and most viewed battles, like, in the Western world, like, of all time. But when you're there watching it, you knew you were seeing something that was, like, incredible and, like, groundbreaking for battling. But I don't think anyone anticipated the reaction it would have gotten. And because obviously going in, I didn't know that was one of the Shotty's biggest battles. And I remember the build-up of Shotty towards that, and you could see the transition. And it was like, oh shit, like, this is going to be a crazy battle. But I didn't anticipate it, again, being that crazy, as crazy as it was. Like, you just didn't know what you to expect. But when you saw it live, it was everything and more than you wanted from a battle.
Definitely, yeah. And, like, to be honest, I booked tickets for that battle and, like, booked flights and stuff off the back of O'Shea versus Tony D was announced first, I think.
Yeah.
And then I think Matter versus Saurus was announced.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And then I think it was, I want to say Mark Grist versus Definition was announced. So, like, I saw those three announcements and was like, right, fuck it, I'm going. And then I think they announced Shotty versus Arsenal. So it was like just a coincidence that I ended up getting to go and see that battle in a way. Yeah. But yeah, I'm so glad that I went now.
Yeah, 100%.
What, in terms of, do you have in terms of, I would say, favorite battle, just for you in general? Like, in fact, first battle, if someone was new to battle rap, what would you tell someone? Introduce them to battle wise.
So, funnily enough, my young cousin messaged me the other day, and he started listening to my podcast just because I was putting it on my Facebook, and he'd not watched battles before, so asked me what he should watch, and I kind of sent him a list in terms of, like, trying to cover all aspects of battle rap. So I sent him I would have sent him Shotty versus Arsenal.
Yeah.
I sent him Shuffle T and Marlowe versus Dialect and Zen.
That's a good choice.
Soul versus Raptor.
Yeah.
Ogmios versus Wizard.
Oh yeah. Ogmios, man, he was incredible as well, man.
Ogmios, the legend.
He was a G.
Yeah, I'm a huge Ogmios fan. I sent him O'Shea versus Tony D.
Sick, yeah.
I think I sent him O'Shea versus Myverse.
Yeah, Myverse.
Okay.
Lunacy versus Uno Lavos.
That was funny.
Oh my gosh.
Hell. That was funny as hell, man.
Yeah.
That was one of the funniest shits I've ever seen in my life. Big buckets. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think I said that. I think I couldn't stop saying that. I wasn't even joking. For like 3 weeks after that battle, every time I see my friends, we just call each other big bucket, blue bucket, 4 bucket, blue bucket. Like just all we kept saying to each other, which is bare dumb. But it just got bare.
You guys at that event?
Nah.
No, I didn't make it either. I wish I did now. It was like I've never been a big fan of Uno Lavos, but it's just his personality carries him. Like he's really not he's not particularly good at rapping, or his material's never that good. It is literally just his personality. He's a bit like, I think Mickey Worthless is a talented rapper and stuff, but in battles he's similar. Like his material's always like obviously written 2 hours before he steps on stage, but
yeah,
just personality carries him. But, what else did I send? I think I sent him Harry Baker versus Charlie Clips.
Did you know, how did he feel after watching those battles? You know, did he, or has he seen it?
He's at the moment he's not got back to me about any of them yet, so it was only a couple of days ago I sent them over, and I think he's still working as well, so it's kind of whenever he gets time. But
yeah,
I sent him a few like American battles as well, just in case he kind of leans more towards that. So I think I put Disaster versus Danny Myers in there.
Oh yeah, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, and Diz versus DNA.
Yeah. That was incredible. I remember the first time when that battle dropped, right, with Diz and DNA. That was, I think, one of the first times where people, because I remember reading the comments from it like a while ago, and even when it was happening live, people were, it was one of the first events where people actually kind of been like, okay, you know, we're going to get together and watch a battle. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it's one of those turning points within the scene, as in, even now when there's big battles, like me and my bro, we live like a couple streets away from each other, but if there's an event, if we can't make it, then we're going to watch it together.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
But now
we
probably have to watch all of that shit at social distancing, you know, measures and all that jazz like that. We have to watch it 6 feet apart and all that jazz, but it's all right.
Yeah. One on the sofa and one at the dining room table. Yeah, man. But yeah, there's a few kind of battle rap fans in Cardiff as well. So generally speaking, if there's a huge event, we'll kind of take it in turns to like, we'll all chip in for the pay-per-view and take it in turns for where we watch it, kind of thing. But
you know, that's good to hear, because prior to, you know, before me and my brother set up this page, you know, it was only, you know, we only knew each other as, it was so hard to find people. It's only till we went to Summer Madness 7 that we realized, shit, London had such, you know, huge amount of people that love battle rap the same way we do. And that's how our page even came about. It's just because of that interaction. You know, we wanted to speak to people about battle rap, and, you know, we never had that chance to, but it's great to hear that in Cardiff you've got your people that you can go with.
Yeah, because no one really, it's weird, because I feel like unless you're part of the community, like, it's only like me, my brother, and our cousin. Like, our cousin's at every single event. She's always there. But other than that, like, it's a niche thing where, like, people might hear it, they might know 1 or 2 people. But when you find people that, I think I've met one person outside of like one person that I've ever worked with who's been, oh my God, they watch it religiously. And then other than that, like, you don't really meet that many people, I find.
No, definitely. And like the only reason it came about in Cardiff is because there was a league here. So I don't know if you're familiar with a guy that battled on Don't Flop a few times called Jake the Ripper.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So he's from Cardiff, and he started a league called Prime Cut, and they had some really good events. Like they were kind of small, like, or low budget events, but like they used to sell out the venues, and it would be people that had not been to battle rap events before, just local people in Cardiff that had kind of. It was the kind of crowd that had seen the odd Lunacy or O'Shea battle and then decided to go to an event kind of thing. But it was always a really good atmosphere there. But unfortunately, it's quite. I've tried to put on an event of my own in Cardiff, and the police aren't overly helpful. A lot of venues will refuse to take the bookings because there's been a few battle rap events in the past that have been like locked off in Cardiff. So
yeah.
It's a difficult scene to handle here, but there's some huge fans, and there's quite a few people that I've met, because I'm not from here originally. I've only lived here for like 4 or 5 years or so, but there's a few people that I've met that they're not a fan of UK battle rap whatsoever. They're just giant URL fans.
Yeah.
Which.
What do you think that is? Do you think it's because over here, you know, the style in terms of, you know, back in the day, we favoured a lot of humour over bars, you know. That's how a lot of people see the UK. They don't see it as serious, you know, as we take our craft. But, you know, there's so many artists over here, you know, that there's so many styles. It's, you know, the UK has got one of the greatest teams, I think, in rap.
I think so too, and I think, you know, our UK fans are the most welcoming, I guess. Like we're ready to react to any type of material.
Yeah.
I think we don't take ourselves too seriously. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we can appreciate a joke, and, you know, obviously I like all types of bars. You know, obviously everyone loves flipping gun bars and stuff like that. Yeah, cool. But I'm happy to like just have a laugh. Do you know what I mean? At the same time.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of battlers don't always consider that. Like, it's like, you don't have to be gangster all the time. Do you know what I mean?
No, man, I know what you mean. And like, I think the thing is over here, for the last few years, our scene's been very sloppy. Like, far too many leagues starting up and trying to push the same narrative and book the same battlers, and it's just, I think it's quite a difficult scene to follow.
Yeah.
Whereas URL is, you know, it's without a doubt the biggest league in the world. And
I mean, it's where everyone at the end of the day aims to get to. Do you know what I mean? I feel like if you make it on there, especially if you're consistently on there, it's like a big thing. Do you know what I mean? I think everyone's aware of that. And it's like, it's hard to compete against a league that are following big events every month consistently. Do you know what I mean? Like, imagine, because you've just got this backlog, just battles happening back to back to back. And when you're the leading battle league in the world and you're setting that much pace like every single month, and you know you can't keep up with that, you're just going to take the world by storm with your league, really, innit? And it's going to be noticeable. And that's why. And I think everyone is aware that the standard there as well is incredible. Like, once you make it there and you're regular on there, then it's like you're set kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think they're kind of like the industry battle rappers, if that term makes sense. Like,
we get you. Yeah.
They're professionals, if in that sense. But I was talking to Pamphlet yesterday, actually, and I mentioned this. But
was you rapping it darker?
Yes.
Yeah, I like he's one of my all-time favourites. Like,
yeah, same.
A huge fan. But I was saying to him, like, I was really surprised that about a month ago, I kind of put a tweet out saying I'm thinking of starting a podcast. Is anybody interested? And within about an hour, Charlie Clips started following me on Twitter, and I was like, what is going on? Like, I probably had about 100 followers at this point, and
yeah,
he sent me a DM just saying, yo, are you from the UK? I'd love to come on your show. And I was like, is this a real account? Like, what's going on here? And then we agreed a date, we agreed a time, everything was set up and ready to go. And then 2 days before, he sent me like this document through DMs, and I opened it, and he'd essentially sent me a receipt to say that if he was coming on the podcast, I had to PayPal him $750 for every hour that the podcast was going to be like on for. And I was like, okay, I see what's going on now. No worries. But
I think me and my brother said we'd do it for $750 a minute. Is that what you said, Nathan?
Yeah.
I think we can agree on that, yeah?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he sent me the discount code, though. So.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, too. It made it more affordable for me, man. But...
yeah, that's insane, man. I mean, it's funny.
Wow, man. I mean...
fake Clips accounts, isn't it? And he always has to go online and just confirm, like, I ain't got no account, it's not me, and other people getting involved, like backing him as well. Like, I find it weird when people do that, man. Like, set up fake accounts. I just don't get it. It's off. It's just
with DNA and shit. It's weird, man.
Yeah. It's people are strange, man, and unfortunately, battle rap attracts some very strange people. But
100%.
100%. Do you know, in terms of, I know one of the questions was, battles in the future. I mean, is there anyone you want to see?
Yeah,
in the future, any battles that
There's loads. So, like, if we go to the question where I say, like, if you were a promoter with unlimited funds and you could book 10 battles for a card, who would you have? Like, for me, it's the number one battle that I want to see right now is Pat Stay versus Ill Will.
Okay.
Oh, wow. That will be fun. Do you know what? I'm happy. Ill Will is very similar to Pat Stay, and I think that matchup will be phenomenal. That will be incredible with that matchup.
Do you know what? I've suggested it loads of times and no one's ever agreed with me, but every time I've mentioned it on the podcast, people have kind of gone, I've never thought of that, but that makes sense.
Yeah, it's true. Because I think everyone at the minute is gunning for Pat Stay and Shine at the minute.
Yeah.
Oh, Pat Stay and Woods, yeah.
I do like Pat Stay and Shine, but for me, like him and Ill Will are so similar in that they're both fucking hilarious, but they can switch it up as well. And
100%.
I think that'd be great. Like my plan this year is if everything's cleared with this virus by then, like I'm gonna go to Town Business 3 for the King of the Dot event. I've been regularly letting them know that I want to see that battle on the card if I come over. So fingers crossed they do.
Yeah.
But other battles I'd like to see are. I'd like to see Shocks the Rebel versus Big K.
Yeah, that would be wicked.
That'd be incredible.
I'd like to see Soul versus Thesaurus.
Yeah. That's a good match as well.
I'd really like to see. I'd like to see Shuffle T and Marlowe versus. I'm gonna say Twerk and Shug.
That's a bit of a strange one.
That'll be interesting. It's a strange one, but strange ones make interesting matches.
Yeah. And I just think they're like Twerk and Shug are probably the most talked about team at the moment. And I don't know. it's more just the fact that for me of seeing Shug in the UK, because I didn't get to go to the URL event here.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's loads of people I'd love to see, but unfortunately, the only frustrating thing about a lot of URL rappers, a lot of them have difficulty getting into the country as well, or even just crossing the border. You know what I mean? So it's one of those ones where it's like, I would love to be able to just be like, fuck it, man, I'm gonna fly to one of these crazy events. You know what I mean? But and I think that's one thing me and brother definitely want to do, like go to one of these big events, like where I could see, because we've been fortunate enough to see most of the people that we ever wanted to, but there's still a handful. I love to see Suge live. I love to see Shine, Nitty, Geechee, just live. You know what I mean? It should be sick.
Do you know what? I think that is a good point, and I might actually switch that up. I'd like to see Shuffle and Marlowe versus Nitty and Geechee.
Yeah, them two are incredible. I mean, I rewatched EFB and NWX yesterday, actually. I think I've seen it like 3 or 4 times since it dropped. And I still find it so difficult to judge that battle because Shine and DNA's chemistry is just incredible. Like, especially in the first round, you see it was just electrifying. But I personally prefer, like, my favorite type of battler personally is punchline rappers. I love punchlines, like, and like, bar, like, that's just my personal favorite style of battling. So when I was listening
to that's the same for both of us, really, isn't it?
It was just exactly. So when I was listening to it, I was like, holy shit, they're saying a lot of things. A lot of things just went over people's heads in the battle.
Yeah, so, no, definitely, man.
There's some people say, like, if you can't beat Rum Nitty, like, in the building, it's like you're never going to beat him on camera because of the replay value. And I feel like that's probably true. I feel like it's too difficult to beat him.
Yeah, I think for me, like, Nitty and Geechee are both kind of, they're approaching top 3 ever kind of status at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, they're incredible. But what else would I have? I'd have Mad Flex versus Tony D.
Yeah.
That'd be incredible.
You said that loads of times, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've been tweeting that shit, yeah.
I think it's meant to happen, or it was meant to happen, but I think it may have fell through. I'm not sure, but that'd be amazing. How many is that? That's 6 battles. So I'd have to have O'Shea on the card, and I'd like to see who makes sense for O'Shea. O'Shea versus Respect BA, I think would be really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Who else?
It's so hard when you've got so many people to...
Definitely, yeah. It is difficult. Yeah. I'm a big Glue Easy fan.
Yeah, Glue's good.
And I'd probably say
against Rock recently.
Yeah, that's what I mean with Tay Rock. Tay Rock has this massive die-hard fan base, and they'll always say that he's 3-0'd his battles, but for me, Glue Easy 3-0'd Tay Rock.
Yeah, I mean, I think we gave that one 2-1. I mean, personally, I can't speak for my brother. I gave it 2-1. It's weird because the first time I watched it, I gave it 2-1 Tay Rock. I watched it again because I feel like it's hard to. I need to watch a battle twice to, like, properly judge it, because the first time you watch it, this is sick. And you watch it again, you listen. Then the second time, I was like, okay, I've given it to Glue Easy 2-1 now. So yeah, I feel like I gave that battle to Glue personally. But it's weird though, because with Rock personally, I particularly really like him. I get what you mean. There's some times where there can be some bars here and there that might not be as hard hitting. But I feel like when I watch his Hollow battle, for example, it's like incredible, good battle.
100%.
You know what I mean? I feel like it just...
I can't deny that. The Hollow battle is amazing. And there is a couple of battles that I do think he's... I understand why he gets as hyped as he is in some battles, but there's also a lot of battles where I don't get it. Like, a lot of people have him beating Pat Stay, and I don't get that whatsoever.
In the building, personally, I mean, I had Pat Stay winning the building, And then we actually, again, during quarantine, I watched a hell of a lot of battle recently. So I rewatched it again. I mean, I can understand why people feel they give it to Rock, but at the same time, personally, after being in the building and watching it, I've personally given that battle to Pat Stay. 2-1. That's just how I feel about it personally. But I wouldn't be mad if people said, I see why Rock got it. But I don't know, from being there live and then watching it again, I just felt like Pat Stay won.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I've got 2 battles left, so I'm gonna say I want to see Ilmac go up against one of the like big name guys on Smack, and I'd probably say Ilmac versus Av.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
That's interesting.
That'd be really good.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And last one, I'd probably just throw like a proper funny battle together to start the day off, like maybe Pedro versus Calcium Kid or something like that.
Yeah, I think anyone says Pedro.
He doesn't think he deserves Pedro. It's incredible.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible. There's no one like in battling, like, and there's no one in the world that can do what Pedro does, because it's just like there are times where he will say something that doesn't make sense, but it kind of low-key does at the same time.
Definitely.
But,
I think Pedro might be the guy in like UK battle rap with the most quotables. Like he's
100%. 100%, man. He could cuss anyone's mum. Do you know what I mean? Like,
your mum, the Umbro tracksuit. It never gets old, you know. It's just, you know, any. It doesn't get old with Pedro. But that's a good card when you put together, man.
Yeah, man. I'd love to see. Just it's mainly just like people I'd love to see in the UK. But like, I remember when Pedro battled P Soldier, and he said like, your mum can get punched in her son's lip, and like,
oh yeah.
JME was tweeting it, and fucking DWE was tweeting it, and like it was mental. But I mean, what about you guys? If you guys were putting a card together, who would you have?
Okay, we spoke about this morning, right? And the first 5, because I said, you do 5, you do 5, and then we had 4 out of 5. So like me personally, I need to see Shotty and Gem. I need to see that.
Yeah, 100%. That needs to happen.
Yeah.
I want to see Ilmac and Rum Nitty in a small room setting. I would love to see that. I want to see Goods and Pat Stay. I feel like that just needs to happen, because they're both, again, kind of like the Ill Wolf thing, both very identical, and Pat Stay and Goods have their own thing. I want to see Surf and John. I just feel like that. I feel like John wants it, and I feel like when John's in that zone, like, I can't see anyone beating him. I just think it's
anyone beating
nuts. And the one last one for me would be, I want to see NWX versus Loaded Hollows. That's what I really want to see. I feel like that would be a sick match, personally. So I'll give 5, and then you give another 5 if you got any.
Yeah, I think my 5 was definitely, it was, you know, JC versus, I've always wanted to see that battle, JC and Tony Lee, because their penmanship is just ridiculous. You know, the way they craft their shit, it's phenomenal. I would love to see Daylight versus Rum Nitty. I think that needs to happen. DNA, I would love to Jazz Fit and Hollow versus Iron Solomon.
Yeah, I
add to that.
Yeah,
or even
I like
Geechee
that.
Versus Calico. Even Geechee versus Calico.
Yeah, I was thinking about putting Geechee versus Calico on mine, to be honest, as well. It makes a lot of sense, and I know they both want it as well, but
yeah,
man. And like I was saying this the other day, I was talking with Nugget from Ireland. If you're familiar,
Nugget.
He's in a similar boat to me, where he said he has his kind of URL rappers that he likes, and if they're not involved in the battle, he won't watch it, kind of thing. And he's actually not familiar with Geechee. And I said to him, it doesn't matter if you don't like, because he said he's not a big Arsenal fan and stuff. And I said, if you're not a fan of anybody that Geechee's up against, watch the battle, because generally speaking, everyone that battles Geechee brings their fucking best performance against
Have
Gucci.
to. Like, because I don't understand how he's that consistent.
Gucci. Yeah. I mean, he just did a battle of Jerry West, and it's ridiculous how consistent that guy is. He's too much.
And
Definitely.
I definitely want to see more females. I think that's one thing I like seeing in the UK more, like more female battlers. Like, I just feel like we're lacking that here. I mean, again, even with battlers, I try to just think, like, look, if you're a battler, you're a battler. I don't care if you're a male battler, you're a female battler, you're just a battler. Like, you know what I mean? But I definitely want to see more UK females in the scene as well. I feel like we're lacking that big time. Like, it's a bit frustrating because in the States, even I feel like now, a lot of them, they're just killing it. And I love watching the battles. Even the Queen of the Ring card, ring card of the URL event that happened not too long ago in January. That was incredible, you know.
Was it official versus Misfit?
Yeah, that was insane, man.
Really good.
Yeah, the Misfit and Hustle one. That was that was a 4 Legacy one. That was Misfit and Cortez against Geechee and Coffee at the URL in January. So that was lit.
Yeah, royalty event. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's another league as well. The one that Tanika Tan does, Art of Rap. We went to a live event. We went to that event for the first. We went to one of their first events. Obviously the second one, but me and my bro went to that. I think over a month ago, and the feel for that event was just sick. You know, like I feel like it was one of the most. It wasn't a large crowd, but it was like there was still a good couple hundred people, but it's quite intimate. But the feeling of being there was like, it was such a sick experience. It's like, I want to go back to it. Like, anytime they put on an event in London, like, I'm going to go because everyone there was just blessed. You know
we're both going.
Yeah, man. It was just a sick atmosphere, man. Like, you can just jam with people. And like, I really enjoyed it. So any event that they have, I want to go back. And the talent on there, like there was a couple people that stood out. If you have the chance, if you have the time to watch any of their battles, Moke is sick. And Black T is really good. I feel like from the battles that we've seen, those two like really stood out.
Moke is. I've been aware of him for a while. Like I saw a few of the battles that they released. That I think it was in they did some battles in like a tunnel not too long ago or something like that, or like there's some battles where they're like. The back shot is like a wall covered in graffiti. But I saw Moke do a battle there and I was really impressed. And the event that they did last month, like it looked like a really good atmosphere as well. It looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's one of those ones where it's like, I recommend people get there and I like the fact that it's just adding more to the scene as well, and like just giving more rappers more of an opportunity to kind of like go for another avenue of getting noticed. Because obviously, the one thing that we don't have the luxury of at the moment in the UK is just constant events happening like back to back to back. So like whenever there is one, and we can get to it, even if we don't know the names on the card. Me and my bro was like, fuck it, we're gonna go, and like you never know like what type of people you're gonna discover there. Do you know what I mean? Like new battlers that are gonna stand out or up and coming ones. So. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, man. And I find some of those events to be a lot more fun. Like last month, I went to. Obviously, Don't Flop is a huge name. Don't get me wrong, but I went to a Don't Flop event in Bristol last month, which I bought a ticket back in like November, like 3 months in advance, because they were the first week that they were released. The tickets were £1, and
bad.
It's mad, yeah. And for £1, I got to go and see Yunnan versus Crafty in the title match. Press 1 versus Lefty for the on-beat title.
Yeah.
There was like Zayn Azrai battled a guy called Graphic Grammar, which was really good. Georgie Roots battled Tech, and they're both like big up-and-comers at the moment for me. There was a few other like on-beat battles. I think there's a guy called Caesar from up north battled a guy that I'd not seen before, and then like a couple of other battles. But it was like for £1, you know.
That's really good, and you can't complain.
No, you can't.
and it was an amazing event. Like I didn't know anybody in the building apart from the battlers that I'd seen before, and everyone else was like a kind of a new fan in that sense. And it was just everyone was there ready to react, and everyone enjoyed themselves, and the venue was full, and it was just really good. And I hope that I like what Don't Flop are doing in the sense of doing events all over the country again.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to help rebuild the scene up and rebuild views overall and stuff. And then leagues like Art of Rap, and I was talking to Max Sherry yesterday, who battled on a brand new league that started in Portsmouth. And I think Tenchu might have some form of involvement in it. So,
Tenchu's big name, man.
Yeah, Tenchu's one of my favourites as well. But like,
shout out Tenchu.
It is good to see these kind of smaller leagues just throw in local events as well, because I can't imagine Tanika Tan and whoever's involved in Art of Rap have much plans to do events outside of London just because it's local to them. But yeah, it's good to see, man. And like, where was the event held then?
It was in East London.
Yeah, Brixton, was it?
No, East London. It was in Brick Lane.
No, East London. Yeah, that's the one. Brick Lane. Sorry.
Right. Okay. Nice.
It was good. It was a good venue, man. Like, good atmosphere, good venue, and I feel like anyone that likes battling, you know, even if you're not too familiar with the name, just go. Like I said, when you go to battles as well, I think me and my brothers, like, good friends to this day. Like, my bro you went to a battle rap on your own, and then you met our boy there, and then he ended up coming to the same uni as me, and this guy comes up to me and stops me. It's like, yo, I know who you are because I know your twin brother. And I was like, oh, snap. And then after that, we just became really good friends, you know what I mean? So, like, you do meet really cool people at events, but even if you go on your own, you just end up meeting tons of people. You just leave, like, you know what I mean? Like, becoming friends with people is sick.
And you see a lot of the same faces. Have you, like, you know, even at Premier League battles when we was there in December, you see a lot of the same faces from previous ones, you know, from growing throughout the years. So it's like it's a good little community spirit thing going on, man. It's really good.
Yeah, definitely, man. And it's one of the things I love about it so much. Like, I think I've probably been to like upwards of 50 events in total now, and like I've never, well, I've been to one with a friend. Like, every event I've been to pretty much has been on my own, and I've always had an amazing time. Like, it's great. And like, I've only ever been to 2 events in the city that I live in, so it always involves traveling as well, and it's just great fun, man. I love it.
Yeah, 100%. I was gonna ask you as well, what musicians do you like artists do you like outside of battling, or like who are your favorite musicians?
So my favorite, like, I listen to all sorts of stuff, but if I had to pick my favorite genre, like, I do pretty much listen to hip hop or grime more than anything else. So
who would you say your top 5 favorite artists are? I wouldn't say not necessarily the best, but I'd say your favorite.
Yeah.
I'd have to say Wu-Tang number 1, just because they were the first musicians that I was ever like fully obsessed with.
Yeah.
I got into hip hop like a lot of people in the UK through Eminem, and then I was about 8 when I spent probably about 6 months persuading my mum to let me have the Eminem Marshall Mathers LP. But like, I loved it, but then I remember hearing Wu-Tang, and like, for me, at that kind of time, just how I just enjoyed the instrumentals a lot more. I didn't really focus too much on the rapping aspect of things, but that kind of came a bit later when I could understand more of it, I guess. But Wu-Tang was the first like musicians I was ever like obsessed with, so I'd have to put them first.
Yeah.
I'm a big It's hard picking a top 5, man. I'm a big Daddy Kane fan.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Old school, yeah.
Yeah. And then I'd probably have to put Rage Against the Machine in there.
Yeah, they're good, real good. I swear they're supposed to headline somewhere, like when they're supposed to come back recently, like not too long ago.
Yeah, they're meant to be doing another tour, but apparently tickets in the UK are going to be about 150 quid for the cheapest tickets. So
no, that's mad.
You can we've got tickets for Outlook Festival in Croatia in the summer, which were cheaper
That's
than
one
that.
of those mad festivals. Some of my boys go there, and some of the girls that I know. And I've been to a few festivals myself, right? I went to Boomtown. I retired after going to Boomtown. I saw things that I never want to see again.
Yeah, man, I can imagine.
Again. I go to big festivals and stuff, but that was you don't go to Boomtown. You survive Boomtown. That's what I tell people.
Yeah. I've still not been, man, but I've heard stories, and I've got a couple of friends that go that have been every year for 5 years, and I just don't know how they do it.
You need to find some new influences in your life, because that's not. I say that to all my friends. I got a group of mates. They go every year. They're like, no, I'm not going. Not again. Well, I try to go to as many different new ones that I can in it instead, as opposed to going to like the same ones. Personally, anyway, just because they're so like going to festivals the price of a holiday, man. You end up spending £600-700.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah, it's a lot, man. But yeah, it was a good surprise actually. Like I went to Outlook when I was 18, and I'll be 28 this year. So like my girlfriend booked us tickets as my main Christmas present this year. So like I went 10 years ago, and now I'm going back 10 years later. So it's a cool present, but if it happens, I mean, everything's a bit uncertain.
Everything's cancelled. A lot of things are getting cancelled or just on hold within it. Like,
yeah, they are, man.
No one knows what's going to happen with all this stuff. You know what I mean? Just unfortunate, but it's just, just have to see in it. I mean, I was supposed to go to one where Kendrick was headlining in London. That's got cancelled. Other ones I like going to Primavera in Spain that got pushed back. But some things are getting pushed back, but you just don't know if they're going to happen or not.
No, I know, man. Primavera looks sick as well. That'll be a good time.
Yeah, it's different. It's different. I mean, you don't camp there like at the site, but it's a sick experience, man. I went last year, saw Pusha T, like Nas, just loads of people that I really like. Like it was just a sick experience, man. I mean, the only downside of it was when Tottenham Hotspur lost to Liverpool in the Champions League final. That kind of ruined my experience a little bit, but other than that, I can't complain.
I'm sorry to report, man, but I'm one of them. So
yeah,
it was a very interesting evening for me, but but I mean, karma comes back around, doesn't it? And it looks like the first time I get to see us lift the league title, and we're having it taken away from us.
Right, let's just see what happens, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's funny because I'm a Tottenham fan, and Nathan, who do you support?
I'm an Arsenal fan too. That's it, man. That's how it's got to be.
That's I bet that's caused some arguments over the years.
Yeah. Because our dad was raised in Highbury, but we grew up like in Tottenham, so I was always like, regardless of where I live, I said I'm going to support wherever I'm from personally. So that's just how we ended up choosing how we ended up supporting. It's a bit, well, we always just banter each other, but yeah, it's a bit interesting.
Yeah.
Nice, and I guess the arguments are pretty one-sided now as well, because Arsenal are, borderline relegation to the Championship.
Exactly, man. Yeah, it's mad.
But yeah, in terms of the other two that I'd put in my top 5, I'd probably have to put Wiley in there.
Yeah. How do you think?
Fair enough. Yeah.
Just because, like, I kind of became aware of grime music when I was in year 7 at school, and I was obsessed with it for about 3 years. So it was hearing Wiley Tunnel Vision Volume 1 was like nothing that I'd ever heard before, and it just I was just hooked on it from there on out. Like, to be honest, nowadays I'm not that into grime. I don't like a lot of the modern stuff, and I'm not the biggest fan of UK rap at the moment in terms of like the Section Boys, 6-7, Crepton Conan kind of sound. Like, I kind of find once you've heard one artist, you've kind of heard them all.
Oh, okay, I hear you. I mean, I think it's a lot of drill that's taken over the scene at the minute. Hey, I think it's weird though, because I feel like with age, your taste in music kind of differs. I can imagine, we're both in our 30s. I can imagine, back in the day, if I was younger, I'd probably get, gas to it, just like, but now I think I pick substance over like the beats and like bullshit. That's just us personally now.
Yeah,
like,
I completely agree. And like, I definitely don't think that it should be banned. Like, there's a big thing with banning UK drill music, which to me is ridiculous. And I completely,
it's ridiculous.
I appreciate what people like about it as well. It's just not personally for me. But I'd have to put Wiley in there for that reason. And then final one, I'd probably say Skinny Man.
Skinny Man. Legend, bro. Legend.
Yeah.
He's hard. Skinny Man is hard.
I don't care what anyone says, man. I've been to a few of his shows, just seen him around, like, in the area as well, like, with North London, but, like, I respect so much what he's done for the scene, and even his content as well.
Yeah, it is different. Spot on.
To a lot of sounds that you heard, especially at that time as well. I feel like people can kind of overlook at how groundbreaking the stuff that he produced and let out at the time was. It was just.
I remember like seeing Skinny Man on Channel U when I'm in
back in the day was the one.
That is the
one.
That's the one. Yeah.
Like year 7 at school and finding out that there's a rapper from the UK that's releasing massive music at that point was just a huge thing for me. Like, and I'd have to put Skinny Man in there. I think I saw him myself about 3 years ago in Cardiff, and it was one of the weirdest but one of the best gigs I've ever been to.
Yeah.
So, like, it was in a venue that has a capacity of about 70 people, so it's tiny. He turned up an hour late, got on stage, had this massive like bandage around his arm, and was just like, I've spent the last 4 days in hospital. I've discharged myself so I can come here and do
what a madman.
I was just like, and it was also the first hip hop gig that I'd ever taken my girlfriend to.
Yeah.
I just stood there like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, this is strange, but it was really good show. But what about you guys? Like, what would you say would be your top 5?
I would say,
go on.
No, for me, my favorite artist of all time is Retro 2. I think that guy is phenomenal. His lyrics, his content, everything about his music is just phenomenal. So him up there. I got to put Jay-Z up there. Lil Wayne, he was a big influence growing up on me. I mean, in especially in his prime. So I got to put Lil Wayne up there. Who else would I say? Last 2. I got to put. I loved Biggie and Tupac, and I'll say Tupac more over Biggie, and I'll say Bob Marley. That's my top 5 for me, man.
Yeah, no, I rate that, man. I was never a big Lil Wayne fan personally, but the others I'm a big fan of, so especially Wretch, man. Like that retrospective album. I've actually I'm a vinyl collector.
Okay.
And I've got one of the few copies that was ever released of that on vinyl somewhere. So
That's incredible, man.
yeah, it's one of my favourite albums, to be fair.
That's lit, man. I mean, to follow up from that, I mean, I love, like, obviously, I think RAP TWINZ is like probably my all-time favorite artist as well. And then to follow on from my brother said, Lil Wayne, just because of the punches and the bars, and I feel like I've listened to every single mixtape or an album like 100 times, man. I just feel like that's why I think those two like got me heavily into like punchline rapping.
Nice.
And then Mac Miller, he's one of my favorite artists of all time. Particularly from his later stuff. I prefer his later stuff compared to his older stuff. So I like Divine Feminine, and his album after that. I feel like, those were just two, like, I don't know, I just loved all that stuff after. I like ASAP Rocky as well. And I'd say Tupac as well, because I'd say like Do For Love is probably one of my favorite songs and Changes. So I feel like those five for myself are like my favorite all-time artists for me personally.
Yeah, I like that, man. And on the subject of Mac Miller, so I don't know if you've heard it. He did an album under like a different name. I can't remember what it's called for the life of me now, but it's more like I think it was called Larry. He called himself Larry Fisherman.
Oh, okay.
And it's more like a soul kind of album, but it often gets overlooked in terms of his work. So if you haven't heard it and get a chance, like definitely check that out. It's a completely like different concept to anything else he's done, but I actually thought it was really good, to be fair. And yeah, I'm a big fan as well. But no, that's both a sick list, to be fair. I like that a lot. For yourselves then, in terms of like music, what would you say was the best gigs that you've both ever attended?
I'm going to straight up say I know it's biased because it's actually my favourite.
I think the Crypto Cola one we went to was sick.
Oh yeah, the one we had like all the guests, Craig David. I feel like we've been to, because I think as we've gotten older, because I feel like one thing that I can honestly say, I feel like of all the artists I've ever liked, like I can go through my phone and I used to go to concerts like regularly. Like me and my bro, we just go everywhere together, innit? Yeah.
Like I remember there was a period, I think it was 2016, 17. We was going to like 2 or 3 every week. Like was what I spent my money on, just going to concerts. So like I can say I've seen every artist I've ever liked in my life, except for Kendrick and Meek Mill. Like those are the only 2 artists that I need to see left. And I can wholeheartedly say I can go from my phone and I can replay any song pretty much that's from an artist that's alive and performed out here. Seen them all. Do you know what I mean? Like I'll just I'll have everyone that I've never seen. Like I'll follow them like on Facebook here and there. And then just be like, oh, so-and-so's player, I'll book my ticket straight away. Do you know what I mean? Like, me and my brother made it, like, our thing, like, every week. We didn't go to clubs and shit after a while. It was like, no, just live concerts. And that's it. So, I think there's so many, but I feel like, for me personally, one of the best things that I've seen, do you know Chili Bang?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think seeing him, I saw him at Wireless in a small tent, and he did this freestyle. And it was like, he got people just to be like, okay, name me like 10 things. I feel like that's one of the sickest things I've seen live personally. And like Wale.
Wale.
Seeing him then as well was incredible as well. I feel that's one of the sicker. I mean, they weren't, obviously you go to like, I prefer like smaller intimate gigs as opposed to huge stadiums. Like, I'll go to them, but like I've seen Drake in huge stadiums and stuff, but I prefer going to a concert where it's maybe like a few hundred as opposed to like, over 5,000
thousands of people. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
definitely. No, man. And it's really cool that you've got to see pretty much everyone that you want to as well. Like there's so many left for me. Like there's so many people that I've never seen. Like I've still never seen Wu-Tang as like a collective of all the main guys.
That's hard,
And like, yeah, there's a ton of people that I'd want to see live, man. But no, that's cool. I like that. And then, like the Crep gig, I think I remember seeing quite a lot about that. Like it was they had like 15, 20 guests or something ridiculous.
Yeah, this was not the one that they did at the O2. This is the one that they did in Brixton.
Okay.
About 3 years ago. I can't remember, 3 years ago.
Yeah, 4 years ago. It was definitely
that was. Yeah. It was just live. I think the energy and everything. That was one of the best events I've been to. And I think I've been to a couple of sick raves, man. I think what was it? I used to when trap music was big. I loved that, man. So I think there was one night. I don't know if you heard of Flostradamus, a knife party.
Oh yeah.
That was a Halloween special. Yeah. That was one of the craziest events I've ever been to. And like just a few warehouse raves I've been to that have just been just grimy. Do you know what I mean? Like I think grime raves at warehouse events, they're like just the sickest things in the world in general, I feel. I love sort of any like hip hop events that are like in warehouses. I love that shit as well.
Yeah, definitely, man. That's class. But yeah, for me, like I've been to some good gigs, but like there's still a lot of people that I need to see, and it's living in Cardiff is quite difficult. So
no, it's hard, man. Like we're quite fortunate that we're in London because I've lived in like multiple cities and lived abroad, kind of like yourself. Do you know what I mean? And then you do realize there's not a lot that happens outside of like major cities. You know what I mean? So I remember when I was in Spain, man, I was flying back. I remember once I flew back twice in 1 week. I go to work, finish work, fly to London, go to an event, fly back. 2 days later, fly back, go to another event. You know what I mean? Like I found myself doing that quite a lot, like just flying back and forth. But you do notice that difference. You know what I mean? Like especially in Cardiff, like you've got to travel a hell of a distance just to get to London, for example. Do you know what I mean? Like
and
that's expensive in itself.
There's a fairly big like hip hop gig scene in Bristol, which isn't too far away. So
yeah, West Country, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's probably about 40 minutes on the train, so it's not too bad really. But like in terms of gigs that I've seen in Cardiff, hip hop wise, there's only a handful. Like obviously the Skinny Man one. I've seen RA the Rugged Man here.
Yeah, legend.
I've seen.
That's very random in a way, isn't it? Like I think like when just now, like RA Rugged Man. Like
Cardiff, yeah.
It was random, but it was a good show. But like there's in the last few years, a lot of the live music venues have gone as well. So there's only really one left that books the occasional hip hop gig, and it is few and far between kind of thing. But
yeah,
I think the promoters are just more into like the underground sound because they've booked like, I don't know if you're aware of Epic Beard Men.
Yeah, I've seen they're beatbox, isn't it?
They do have beatboxers involved, yeah, and then the rappers are like B Dolan and Sage Francis.
Where did I see that? I think they were in Brighton a fair bit actually. I think I've seen them live a few times. In smaller Brighton venues actually. I think that's where the first time I heard them. It was when I was at uni. I heard them. I've definitely seen them live a few times.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they're kind of big for.
They used to get booked in the UK all the time, but then they stopped coming over here for a while. But yeah, they've played here, and like I've seen Dabbler here, Dr. Syntax.
Syntax, yeah, seen Syntax.
But Syntax was like he did more drum and bass stuff, which was a bit weird for me, but I think that's pretty much it. Oh, and I've seen Loki here as well.
Loki, yeah, Loki's fucking sick. Actually, that's one guy who's got a lot of substance in his bars as well. Actually, I feel like he gets overlooked quite a lot. Actually, so I feel like that name definitely needs to be brought up more in terms of like lyricism in the UK.
His fire in the booth. I'm not sure if you've seen his fire in the booth, but it was 11 minutes, the last one he did, and that was just, I think it was 200 bars he spat, and that was even mind-blowing itself, you know. So
yeah, man, and his like latest album that I think came out last year, there's a track on there called The Return of Loki, and it's pretty much just 5 minutes of him. Like the substance throughout the entire track is incredible. So I'm a big fan of his. But yeah, man. Like, apart from that, I mean, that's that's pretty much all the questions.
Yeah.
To be fair,
I've got actually one last question for you, if you don't mind.
Of course.
Have you seen the RD Boom and BK battle?
Yes.
Okay.
This is what me and my bro find conflicting, right? It's like bar for bar, I feel like RD Boom got the battle in terms of bar. If you base it just on bars, not on any like personal,
Just
the bars.
100%.
RD Boom got it. But then from the perspective of obviously if it's all truth, you can say by default BK won the battle just from round one. Do you know what I mean? But how would you judge that battle? And what do you think is going too far in battle rap?
Yeah, I was going to ask that question last. Actually, that's my last question with you.
So I think if I was judging that battle, I'd put it across exactly like you have. I'd say that I think RD Boom. I've got some respect for RD Boom for the fact that he was still able to get his 3 rounds out clean.
Yeah.
And I think he did well, but I don't think anything he said was overly impactful either. I don't think it was the return that I was expecting from him, because I did quite like him back in the day, but
yeah.
I'd say it's up there with Jefferson Price Caustic, Diz Cannabis
100%.
level of RD Boom pretty much can't battle again.
Yeah, 100%. I think people are curious to hear what he wants to say, but in terms of coming back, because especially when you're in an environment where a lot of people are like, or have been part of like the streets, you know what I mean? I feel like you can't really integrate back into that like afterwards. Yeah, it's weird, man. Like I said, I mean, it's a difficult one to judge. I mean, if we just stick to the lyrics and stuff, I can respect his rap ability, but outside of that, I try not to personally, you know what I mean, just judge and like persecute and all that jazz. I'm like, I don't know that guy. I'm not been in that situation. Do you know what I mean? So I just don't really comment on the whole side of things. If that makes sense. I just try to just focus on
keep
the
it rap in it. Yeah.
The
bars. Yeah.
No, definitely. And in terms of what I think is too far in battle rap, I'd just say anything that gets overly physical or like.
Okay.
For me, I thought the best example I've got off the top of my head is like when Diz and Yunnan battled and Diz got psychosis.
Oh yeah. Like, Yunnan and psychosis at the time, they had huge like problems with each other.
Yeah. For me, like that's fucking garbage. Don't bother with that. Like nobody wants to see that. And like to a point where it's potentially going to like again with Yunnan, like he did with the Raptor battle, like he just pulled through it like a professional, but kind of 9 times out of 10 the battler that's up against that is likely to choke, and I don't like that. But I mean, apart from that, I don't think anything's out of bounds in battle rap, but there's things that I'm just not a fan of. Like I don't like people. Essentially, battle rap is meant to be breaking down your opponent. I don't like it when people have like entire rounds about opponents' family members or whatever, and like I just don't appreciate it anywhere near as much because I just don't find it particularly creative. But like. Yeah, I wouldn't say I really think anything in battle rap is too far myself, but what about you guys?
I think it's down to the individuals. Like I feel like if you know the boundary, but at the same, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? I mean, it's like with goods, for example, like everyone knows. I think it comes down to respect, though. I think no one's gonna go there and this is do up because you know what's gonna happen, you know it's gonna react. But I feel like there's a point where people respect rappers like goods enough to not cross that line. Do you know what I mean? Even but if you sign up to battle someone like Arsenal, I feel like you can't really get annoyed on stage. You know what I mean? Like you knew what you signed up for. You knew what could possibly happen. So I feel like don't battle someone if you don't think you can hack what's going to come with it, sort of thing. But I personally, I'm not a big fan of like kind of what you're saying. You know what I mean? Getting too personal. and all that. I mean, obviously there are some grudge matches here and there where people want to see like the gossip and whatever, but I say 9 times out of 10, I just want who can outbar who. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
It's gonna be subjective. Like some people think there's no limits. If you're standing on stage, you got to take what comes with it, and I respect that at the same time as well. So it's like I get it from all sides, but I just want to hear bars. That's it.
Yeah, you don't have to be too personal. A little personal here and there, all right, fair enough. But the moment it's going to be shit that's going to be outside of battle rap, I don't want to hear it. Just keep it.
No.
You know, we don't want to hear everyone's backstory on some bullshit. Just keep it battle rap. A little personal here and there is all right, but yeah.
Definitely. No, I agree. And like, for me, I think battle rap is kind of on that subject. I think it's way too focused on in jokes now. There's far too many battles that aren't accessible to people as a first time watcher, because people will talk about like fucking forum jokes and stuff like that, and I think we need to kind of drift away from that if we can. But
I feel that's a UK thing in particular as well, actually. Like, I feel like we use a lot of our own, I feel like what's different when I hear a lot of like URL battles, for example, I feel like regardless of what part of the world you're from, you can kind of like get it. And I feel like if you use a lot of your own, you know, kind of dialect and your own sort of like, you know, in jokes and idiolects, it's difficult for people to access what it is that you're saying, because they're not going to get it. Like, I can talk to someone just using, you know, like slang from London. It's fine. But I know if someone was going to watch a battle from the States or wherever in the world and watch that, they're not going to have a clue about half the shit I've just said. You know what I mean? So I feel like you got to keep it. I feel like that's one thing that a lot of people need to consider, as in just rather keeping it localized. If you want to like be big on a global scale, you've got to make sure everyone can access your material.
Definitely. No, I completely agree. And and do you know what? I think I've said this to a few people now. I think this lockdown period that we're in at the moment, it seems like it might actually be a really healthy thing for the UK battle rap scene, because I think a lot of negativity has been coming about in the last few years, and at the moment everybody's bored and at home, so they're getting involved. Like the amount of online like 1 round battle videos that are coming out, and people are sending for each other again, and people are putting together like on beat tournaments of like just rapping, and like Don't Flop are doing this thing where they pick 8 random words from the dictionary, and you've got to put together a 32 bar freestyle about it or whatever. And
that's wicked. That is.
Yeah, it's just been really good to see, and like people seem to be getting involved again without moaning about, you know, oh, this guy choked or this guy was shit or whatever. It's been good to see it. So I think it hopefully it's gonna help the scene, if anything.
Yeah, 100%. That's what we can do from here, innit? I just hope it just motivates people to just stay on their game.
Yeah, man. And we look forward to your tournament as well. When that, you know, definitely looking forward to that, man. 100%. Can't wait for that shit.
Yeah, it'd be good, man. I'll make sure I put it all on Twitter and that kind of stuff. But hopefully within the next few weeks we'll be able to get that started. But what about you guys? Have you got anything coming up that you wanted to kind of plug or anything like that?
I mean, personally, we just like I said, I think this is like our first interview and stuff. This is something that me and my brother always kind of discuss, like, oh, should we do more interviews and stuff like that? But I feel like at the minute we're just gonna kind of keep doing what we're doing at the moment, and then maybe once this all clears over, try and do more like, you know, if there's some stuff that we see that works in the States, for example. So even one thing that I would love to see more of in the UK is like interviews after battles. You know what I mean? How do you feel about certain things like that? Or even just like face-offs or build-ups. Like, I think me and my brother would love to, even if it's not us directly, even if it's us supporting other people doing it, that sort of stuff that we like to see, and even just facilitate in the future. I feel like that would just create more of a bit of a buzz. You know what I mean? Just face-offs and interviews after the battle, because people can't always go to battles, or they're not going to order the pay-per-view. But if you can go online and kind of like catch how the battlers feel after the battle, particularly over here, I feel like that would be like really interesting to watch. So I think that's stuff that we would like to facilitate in the future, whether it's through me and my bro, or whether it's like through other people. Do you know what I mean? Even if it's us getting in contact with the battlers and being like, okay, so and so wants to talk about this and that, like we'd be more than happy to do that. Do you know what I mean? Like I think our thing is just working cohesively with people. We don't really see it as like we want to do this, we want to do that. Like, do you know what I mean? I feel like we just want to, even if it's just pushing other people, I think that's one of our big things. Like,
100%.
Yeah.
Definitely, man. And so with this podcast, I've got kind of some other segments of the show that I'm going to be launching pretty soon. Like I'm looking to do face-offs as well, but
wicked.
Kind of keeping it to the UK scene because I think America has enough of that already.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm looking to do like a weekly news feed for battle rap all around the world as well.
Yeah.
So just keeping people updated with what's going on in that sense. And I also want to do a show about like battle rappers' music, because I feel like that gets overlooked.
That's a really good one. That's a really good idea.
A lot of battlers make fire music that people don't really realize. Like people forget, like some of them, you know, they rap outside of like the battle arena, like, you know, and it's really good. It's really good music, like really good content as well. I feel like I don't know if you heard some of Jay Short stuff as well. He's again kind of a bit, it reminds me of Raptor, just vulnerable, just open. Even Bandman, he did loads of stuff. Always listen to his stuff, and they upload, like, all really good people, man. Like all good content. So yeah, man, battlers can be music.
Yeah, I just want to give it a bit more shine, really, because there's so many battlers, even in the UK, but overseas as well, that they make great music that just doesn't really get listened to anymore. It's not like the old days where, you know, when Don't Flop first started, you'd see people introducing himself and being like, buy my CD at Bandcamp and all that kind of stuff. No one does that anymore. So
it's true.
And I want to do event recaps and prediction blogs and stuff. And then the one thing that I'm going to be doing very soon is we're setting up a show where I'm going to have a guest on, and we're going to talk about 3 battles that are kind of criminally underviewed. So I'm going to pick one, the guest is going to pick one, and then we're going to get one that was voted for by someone on Twitter or something.
That's it.
That is a wicked idea.
Underviewed battles, a bit more traction in that sense. So
100%, like more slept on. That's a really good idea, man. Again, like it's something that you don't see. I think it's just, you know what I mean, just building on what's out there and just doing things slightly differently that will just attract more people to, you know, UK scene and stuff. So yeah, man, we fully support that.
Thank you, man. No, I appreciate it a lot. And if there's, you know, if anything you ever want, if there's ever any suggestions or anything like that, please do get in touch, man.
We will do. Or if you ever go to an event or anything like that, you're out here in London, even if you're just out here in London, man, like any point, you can just hit us up, you know, whether it's on some battle stuff or whatever, like, you're more than welcome to, like, just kick it, whatever, man, you know what I mean?
Definitely, man. Yeah, I'll make sure I hit you guys up next time, because, you know, it's always good to meet new people at these events and stuff. Like, I don't get to talk about battle rap with anyone until I started this podcast. So
so that's a good thing, man. Like I said, me and my bro, we don't talk to anyone about it, anything about other than to each other. Do you know what I mean? So it's good to have other people fantastic.
Definitely, man. But no, I really appreciate you both taking the time to come on. And it's
thanks for the offer, man, and bringing us on the show. We really appreciate it as well.
Definitely, and we'll get you both back on some point in the near future, man. It's been a lot of fun, but
it has been, man.
Yeah, but anyway, thank you for coming on, guys.
And take care of yourself during these crazy times,
definitely
man.
Take care of yourself.
Definitely, stay safe, guys.
All right.
See you later.
Take it easy. Bye.
Bye, man.